It is often said that when God has a plan for you that is greater than yourself, the devil has a plan for you to never make it to that destination. Most times, his plan for you was to stop you at your birth. As I look back, there are many moments where that outcome could have gone in a direction I may not have ever been able to come back from. There was a time in my childhood where I was like most fifth graders in the 1980s working class suburb who was most concerned with whether or not I would receive the latest toy for my birthday and if a childhood friend would share one of my classes during school. Now in the fourth grade, I received good grades and high expectations from my teachers. I also had many friends I was used to from first grade up until that point. However, it got increasingly hard for my parents to attend school meetings, and they decided that I should finish my studies from the 5th grade to the 6th grade in another school. Saying my 5th grade to 6th grade experience was different from the other 4th grade experience would be an understatement. You see, there was an unspoken difference between the schools. When I first attended the school, I remember sitting in class and some of the other children were staring at my clothes. Now at the time, you couldn't tell me I wasn't styling with my eyes all polo shirt and Dockers khaki pants. But I soon found out that what I thought was the standard dress code for all was not at all standard in the new school. While I had my fair share of confrontations where people laughed at my expense, nothing couldn't prepare me for the test I was going to get outside of the classroom. Now I don't remember much about the beginning of the morning because it didn't seem much different than the other mornings I had. Until I sat down in my homeroom class, placed my book bag on the floor, and was unpacking my pen and pad. The intercom morning announcements started to blare with this voice of the vice principal. And the next thing I knew, my name came up. I'm like, me?
Lance Lead, will you please come to the principal's office? Lance Lead to the principal's office.
I was still in the new school, and while a few of my friends and faculty in my classes I knew since the day I started, there was two people I didn't know well, and they were the principal and vice principal. While the other kids ooh as I placed my belongings back into my backpack, I walked pretty confident up to the principal's office because there wasn't anything I could think of that I did which could land me in trouble. Until she sat me down. Now normally you sit down and engage in the regular formalities that most people would engage in. You know, the good morning, how are you? Well, I don't recall any of that. Instead, they cut to the chase and went straight to business. The principal then spoke. I received a visit from Katrina Haynes' father today. You know Katrina Haynes, right? Yes. I have a math class with her. Yes, well, her father found this letter in her room that you wrote to her. Letter? Yes, this letter. Now, I could see in the principal's face that whatever was on this letter could not have been good, because if looks could kill, I believe I would have been killed, resuscitated, and killed again. And then I took a look at this note I supposedly wrote to her. See, the interesting thing about this letter is the majority of things I saw on it were either things I've never heard of until I was 18 years of age, or things I still have no idea what they mean, since they were either too advanced for me to wrap my brain around, or possibly too advanced for the writer to even spell correctly. All I knew was that many of the things on that letter could not be repeated or even read aloud in 5th grade setting, or both of us would be placed in facilities not suitable for grace or freedom for that matter. I said, no, I didn't write this. So you're saying you didn't write this, but it has your signature at the bottom? Of all the unspeakable things I saw in that letter, one thing I didn't notice was my name written or mentioned on that literary travesty. Before I could clear my throat to even speak in my defense, I then said, "Well?" Now, before I continue, first of all, let's just, for the record, you cannot even imagine the thoughts going on in my head right now. My head was spinning with the thoughts of, "Oh my God, Lance, you should have stayed in the other school. What type of stuff is this? Who has time to write something like this and place other people's name on the letter? Oh my God, am I going to be placed in special schools for the rest of my life, all because someone felt they would write a letter possibly to prank the receiver, yet destroy my reputation and all the years of my schooling and possibly my life? Who does?" Then I saw it. My signature. My name, except my name was misspelled. Mind you, the principal's eyes are still half closed with her brows arched more than they were drawn in. Then I responded, "Well, whoever wrote this spelled my name wrong." The principal was now looking confused. "You see, they spelled Lance with an S and not a C. Why would I spell my name wrong?" The principal then grabbed a piece of paper, glanced at it, and then with her eyes widening, she gave me a heartfelt apology, reassuring me that she was going to make sure that she found out who wrote that letter. Well, she did, because before the day ended, a girl who was friends with Katrina was called down to the principal's office. For the rest of that year, until my high school graduation, I hadn't seen her since. In our lifetimes, we will encounter situations that we will have no control over. Some of those situations will have small consequences, while others can have a lasting effect that can totally change our whole life's trajectory. My mother said that she regrets listening to someone else's opinion on her condition that day. She decided to transfer me to the other school. I say it was meant for me to see that other side of life. At that time I encountered it. Maybe it was God's way of saying that even when you find yourself in a tight spot where people will look down on you, blame you for what someone else has done or said against you, remember that He will be there. Even when all else appears to be grim, He will be there for us. All we have to do is stand firm in our convictions. When we know that we are doing what is right, He will make a way. There's a powerful song that comes to mind, one that my mother would read to me and my sibling before we went to sleep at night. It said, "Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. I have fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and He shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord."